Hey, Bobtron. Bobtron, he was in the way of my goddamn yellow key card. Don't you defend him. What was shorter, Bugs? What's shorter because you're sad? Because you were sad, what is shorter? Oh, the yo is shorter. Bugs, whenever you come in and say yo, this is exactly what I imagine. Was it, I remember hearing something about like that yo sound that they do in kabuki theater. That's basically like the Japanese version of a hype man. That's like the Japanese version of Little John going, "What? Yeah." Like without hyperbole, that's exactly what the fuck it is.
Naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big herd throbbing cocks wanting to be sucked. 18 naked cowboys wanted to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch on their knees wanting to suck cowboy cocks. Ram Ranch really rocks. Hot, hard, buff cowboys, their cocks throbbing hard. 18 more wild cowboys out in the yard. Big bulging cocks ever so hard. Orgy in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks, ram and cowboy butt like a breed of ram wanting to rut. Big hard throbbing cocks getting sucked real deep. Cowboys even getting fucked in their sleep. Ram Ranch, it rocks. Cowboys love big hard throbbing cocks. Naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks wanting to be sucked. 18 naked cowboys wanted to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch on their knees wanted to suck cowboy cocks. Ram Ranch really rocks. Hot, hard, buff cowboys, their cocks throbbing hard. 18 more wild cowboys out in the yard. Big bulging cocks ever so hard. Orgy in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks, ram and cowboy butt like a breed of ram wanting to rut. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks wanting to be sucked. Naked cowboys wanting to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch on their knees wanting to suck cowboy cocks. Ram Ranch really rocks. Big hard throbbing cocks getting sucked.
This is the Pippa version.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go! 18 naked cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch. Big hard throbbing cocks want to be sucked. 18 naked cowboys want to be fucked. Cowboys in the showers at Ram Ranch on their knees wanting to suck cowboy cock. Ram Ranch really rocks.
That was the Ram Ranch mod. Okay, that's kind of annoying. Oh, I think that's gonna give me epilepsy. All right, Chad, I feel 10 pounds lighter. Did the toilet make it? Barely. Was that overkill? Yes. Do I resent it? Absolutely not. Nah. I'm salty. You know, I remember watching the stream of Romero making these Sigil 2 WAD maps.
Used to be this microphone. Okay, great. Or I believe have some Startan going on in it. But that's like, you know, since it's the first level, it's gonna really need to be space base looking. But it is very, very hellish. I feel like, yeah, there's not enough cacos in this room. I agree. I feel like it probably should feel definitely more hellish. So starting off that way. Fire blue, maybe the whole deal.
His signature sigil.
Yeah.
His sigil tumbler.
Everyone would hate it.
Product placement.
Hey, Infamous Night Raid, thanks for subscribing. Hey, Skulker, the following balls of this room. Room won't be that big. Player's gonna be in the middle, so it has to look like something the player can stand on. There'll be less of that once I do more detailing on it. Let's see. I want to make sure Okay, look at that. Perfect. That's centered. All right. Okay, let's see. Actually, it's a lot of these lines. Gotta highlight. As you can tell, this theme is about furious creation. Alright. Alright. Hey, thanks for subscribing. FCNKT. Okay. I think I'll do that. And let's go down. Ceiling too. See what it looks like. Let's highlight. Huh. Seems like there's like nothing. It's like there's one sector. It seems. Let's see. Oh, this is hard to see because it's big. Okay. Alright. That's weird. Why did they flip? Everything is fire. Yeah, Leon, Dragon Cat, if you want to see some Doom 2 stuff, check out my level 1 Humanity. It's made for Doom 2, and I made it last year. It's my first Doom 2 level since 1994. Okay. So much texturing. Okay. It takes as long to select these lines as it does doing this, so might as well.
Copy pastas. Gotta love the copy paste function. Oh my goodness. Doesn't that just make life a hell of a lot easier in every fucking aspect? From typing to code.
Don't make circles, kids. It's a lot of work. Okay, let's see. Back of that. Okay. DevKit Gaming, it's pretty impressive that you've been playing Doom since you were 3. That's a long time. Yeah, E5 M1. This is E6 M1. The player always starts in a very interesting location. Think I'm lazy. Thanks for following. Alright. So the players just start in the middle of that. It's a pretty small location here, but you can get a sense of the size of this. It's pretty small. This will be cut up into a pentagram later on. I'm just starting this. You're gonna start in the middle. Okay. Irrationality. It's a circle that turns into a pentagram later. Yeah, usually what I'll do for that is try and kind of outline where it should go without making distinct sectors, because then it kind of gets to be complex when you want to make changes. So that kind of thing. Then it's like, you know, how far down? How far down do these lines go? Because it feels like it needs to come down a little more, like, well, yeah, lower. So let's say here. And then that'll kind of go across that. Yeah. I need to adjust this position to be up here now, instead of over here, the middle of that maybe.
It's kind of interesting to watch him make these, the way he makes the maps.
All right. What do you suggest for non-linearity? Make a bunch of passages out of a central room.
Let's see.
that
It's
exits
1.5,
place.
2.5, 2.25, 1 3/4. So it's
That's many.
4 hours.
Oh, that's great. You got the book.
Another 4 hours. That's 8 hours.
Thanks, Patrick.
11.5.
Well, guess
13
what?
and a
When
half.
Sigil 2 is done,
16 and a
the
half.
next set of levels gets started.
19
which is for
hours.
Doom 2.
19 hours for one level.
This is Sigil 2, Caneless. It's for Doom 1, and it's the sequel to Sigil for Doom 1. Okay. Yes. More levels.
We didn't win. These droids are so. If they hadn't, we'd be goners.
So this might, yeah, might be roughly okay.
No, it's not. I never really
You-
thought about it. I never asked. I know the Jedi will wipe.
I'll probably just leave it. Let's see how it runs and doesn't screw things up. Should be alright.
The Clone War ended.
Okay, they're invisible. And let me see, I'm in 4. Let's stretch it out a little bit more. Okay. Yeah, Bradman X. Thanks for following.
Heck me. I might need to turn the fan on. My house has the heat turned up all the way up. What does that make that happen? I gotta look this up. What causes Doom to fall forward when dying? Good night, Bugs. Whenever I shoot something standing above me with a chain gun or dragon claw, it jumps at me as it dies. Why is that? Special code tells dying monsters who have been shot by an element below them they will have a half chance they will jump ahead, with force even greater than them falling back. early memories of Doom going, ha ha ha, guy fall downstairs by the green armor on the hanger. Wait, really? Of course. But of course. I can, Brad. Hell in Ghost Rock. Hell in Ghost. Wow, wow.
works and some of it doesn't. The magical doors from the original, whose ability to conveniently transport Graham to the exact dimension he needed to go to was never explained, has been replaced with a talking rock, who now wants you to fuck off and find 3 colorful gems for reasons that are also never explained. At least there's a bit more effort that's gone into this whole gem thing, though. The original just had magic doors with 3 keys, and no one seemed the slightest bit interested in explaining why it was there or why it had somehow managed to lose its keys. In the remake, each gem symbolizes one of the 3 elements, water, air, and earth, which further represents birth, life, and death, respectively, and the puzzle chains that go along with each gem are appropriately thematically linked. But as far as what a fucking stoneface is doing out here, why it has the power of teleportation, or why in the unholy name of fuck it's powered by 3 pieces of magical shiny rocks, is something you're just gonna have to work out for yourself. The premise of the whole story, unfortunately, isn't much different than the original, but in fairness, there's precious little you can do with the dude goes off to rescue a princess in a tower story without divorcing yourself so far from the source material that you end up writing an entirely different game altogether. There is a subtle but interesting difference this time around, though, and this is where I get into massive spoiler territory. So if you planned on playing this yourself and you haven't done already, then fuck off and watch something else. Okay, remember Prime Minister Gerwain from the original? You'd be forgiven for not, because he's not actually in the game itself. He's only mentioned in the manual that came with the game. Anyway, he's the sniveling little cunt who sends Graham off on his quest by appealing to Graham's unsatisfied royal libido. In the remake, they actually put this guy in the game itself, and, this is the spoiler bit, he's evil. Like, Prince of Darkness levels of evil. See, throughout the entire game, we keep hearing mentions of the Father. Predominantly, we see him phoning up Hagatha, the evil crone who lives in a cave, a very dang cave in the country, and we'll get back to her in a bit. Anyway, every so often, Hagatha gets a call on her magic disco ball, which she feels the need to unnecessarily caress for some reason, and the person on the other end, the Father, is actually this twat from the intro, who in fact wants his king dead and the crown of Daventry on his head. Not only does that rhyme, it also serves as the key element in this newly devised grand plot of the game. But hold up, before we get into any of that, let's just talk about rhyming for a bit. There's too fucking much of it in this game. This enticing and well thought out backstory that not only forms the backbone of this game's narrative structure in a cohesive and interesting way, but also that of the entire rest of the goddamn King's Quest series, is told almost exclusively in goddamn fucking verse. That rhyme. Everything fucking rhymes in this game. And you know what happened to the last herd of gobshites in a King's Quest game that tried to sell me on rhymes? So bear in mind as I unveil this intricately woven tapestry of lore and backstory that I had to sit through walls upon walls of text composed chiefly of endless fucking rhyming couplets and iambic pentameter to bring you this overview. Not to mention, there's a fucking song in here too. Did I mention there's a song in here too? Yeah, Valinus looks over the balcony in one of the cutscenes and belts out this banger. Shut up, you rancid bit. No one cares. Anyway, here we go. What does Diet Satan here want with Graham's crown? Well, turns out he's actually the brother of the very first king of Daventry, who was a powerful and wise mage for some reason, and also for some other reason gave up his powers to become mortal, which is not important. The point is, ever since he did that, his powers have been stored in some mystical artifact. No, not the crown, some other magical MacGuffin that's never seen and only referred to as the item, so it could be anything. Personally, I really hope it's an enchanted butt plug, and the only way to unlock its powers is to shove it so far up your ass it can tickle your ribs from the inside. Anyway, the crown is an essential part of actually getting to said item, but the catch is, you can't just steal it off the head of the king, no matter how big of a dumb fuck he is. No, he has to give it to you voluntarily, or rather, to be more precise, it has to be bestowed to you. And Jerwain here, whose real name is actually sending Graham off to Kalima, not because he hopes the king will somehow find someone to polish his royal wing-wang, but because he hopes the king's other head will somehow find itself conveniently detached from the rest of his body, and the crown would then go to the next in command, which in this case would be Prime Minister Beelzebub over here. Now, why he didn't just hire an assassin to take out the king on one of his days off is anybody's guess, because Lord knows King Dipshit here is less perceptive of danger than a blind, deaf, and chronically depressed lemming. I guess it just looks better for him if the king happens to bite it while overseas, and apparently old Morningstar here has a score of minions ready to take care of the dirty business in Kalima, so whatever, I guess that works. But what this also means is, I was totally vindicated in my postulate back in the King's Quest IV video that the magic mirror of Daventry is fucking evil and wants the royal family dead. Because remember, the story of King's Quest II goes, Graham looks at all the eligible maidens in his own backyard and judges them all to be inferior broodmare material, then goes to sulk in front of the magic mirror, who displays an image of Valinus imprisoned inside a quartz tower in the realm of eternal psilocybin psychoses, and it's love at first sight for G-Dog here, because apparently nothing gets his trumpet blowing more than crying women being held against their will. In this game, it's actually Jerwain who subtly hints that Graham should go and have a look in the mirror, meaning not only is the mirror evil, but it's also in cahoots with a royal traitor who wants to, well, that part's never really actually explained either, but I think it's fair to assume he wants to take on the world. Yeah. Anyway, that's the gist of the driving force of the plot here. Now, the way it ties into the rest of the series is with this thing that was mentioned briefly in King's Quest VI and never brought up again. The Society of the Black Cloak. This dude Alhazred, who was the main antagonist of King's Quest VI, was apparently a member of the Secret Order, but the designers of King's Quest VII and VIII never really got around to fully explaining what their deal was, or indeed ever fucking mentioning it again. Jane Jensen, the designer of King's Quest VI, just left that little beautiful loose strand dangling for others to pick up and run with, but it was subsequently ignored by everyone who worked on the following two games in the series. Nathaniel Stacey, the designer of this remake, does however pick up this loose end and ties it into a society of minions that all follow Prime Minister Pisshead here in his quest to overthrow the ruler of Daventry, get the crown for himself, and then use the crown to find this item of MacGuffin thing, and then become
the supreme being of all that exists.
Yeah, and presumably his snappily dressed Black Cloak followers would be spared whatever bullshit he may have had in store for the rest of the world. So, yay for me! The magic mirror is evil, and you can all bite my nuts for eternity. Now, how we go from that bit of fairly interesting backstory lore world building to fucking monk werewolves is a little more complicated, and honestly, it sometimes feels like the game not only bends over backwards trying to shoehorn in elements from the original game, but in the case of these canine clergy, flat out contorts a full 180 degrees and jams his head so far up his own ass trying to work in elements that Daniel came up with on his own and for whatever reason refused to let go of. So okay, we had Dracula in the original game, right? It made no goddamn sense, and I don't think it was supposed to either. I mean, for some fucking reason, Dracula's castle is just sitting on its own private island surrounded by an impenetrable lake of extreme poison, accessible only by hitching a ride with this bony boatman, who apparently works 3 jobs because here he is in King's Quest VI ferrying dead assholes across the river Styx, and here he is again in King's Quest VIII warbling on about skulls and being a fucking pain in the ass. So naturally, Dan has to bend over backwards to explain why Count Flat, the life of any barbecue party if you need something on a skewer, is doing in Kalima, and his solution was to first of all change his name to an anagram of Dracula. No, not Alucard, something even worse. No, a bit better than that, actually. Kaldar. His name is Kaldor. Kaldor is his name. Anyway, Callie here is now reimagined to be the erstwhile mayor or king or whatever of Kalima. But he was out strolling with his wife one evening and got bit by a vampire bat that just swooped down and took a nibble out of him. And from then on, he was like, well, fuck this noise. I'm going to stay here in my castle, lock the doors, and sustain myself primarily in rat's blood for the rest of eternity. And while that may seem like a weird thing to do without at least putting your governmental affairs in order, it does conveniently solve another baffling mystery from the original game, which was, why the fuck does Granny here, who lives in a house, a very nice house in the country, have a black cloak and insignia ring under her bed that lets you book passage on the Moonlight Express? I remember wondering out loud in my video back then, did they hook up? Is Grandma a vampire bitch? And it turns out, yeah, she totally is a vampire bitch. She is, in fact, Calder's wife. Calder, who cares? Who still appears to be under the assumption that Callie just dropped dead from some mutant rabies-like ailment brought on by this sudden onset of bat fangs, and doesn't appear interested in raising any questions about why the lights are sometimes on in the castle she used to live in. She also doesn't mind bringing up their granddaughter, who was Little Red Riding Hood in the original game, but is now a precocious little scamp called Possum, who just happens to have a red cloak and spends her days running around in a wolf-infested forest on her own because I guess being mauled by a vicious predator is preferable to sitting at home watching your only remaining family member slowly succumb to death in front of you. Oh, the wolves. Yeah, remember the monk from the first game? This lovely, sweet man of the cloth who takes Graham to heart in prayer? Yeah, fuck you, he's a werewolf now. And not the fun kind either. This wolf doesn't buy you a prostitute and gently strokes your hair after you've had too much wine. Sorry, entirely different spoiler there. No, this one is just snarling evil, and he hates the vampire for some reason. Lovely interior decorating skills, though, I must say. But before I can slap you across the face for saying Team Edward or something equally unforgivably stupid, we've almost forgot. We're in a King's Quest game, so don't worry. We may be barking up some ancient horror tropes here, no pun intended, but it's still just good old G-rated, family-friendly whimsy and wonder. Holy shit, Graham just stabbed a wolf to death with a sword! Okay, well, I'm sure that was just in self-defense. Holy crap, he just did it again! Settle down, Jesus. I mean, sure, there's a non-violent alternate solution to this, but will you fucking knock it off, Christ? Anyway, on the other end of the spectrum, we have talking pumpkins. Sure, why not? The Antiquarian is now a failed acolyte who wants to craft a youth spell, and Hagatha's role has been greatly expanded to the point where she's essentially Satan's right-hand crone. Although it's nice to see she still finds time to hang out with Bruce Wayne. Fast forward to the ending where Graham has procured each of the 3 element gemstones. I don't know why fire didn't get a stone, but I suppose that was a little hard to work into the whole birth, life, death metaphor. And he's whisked away to... oh, real funny. Now, we are sent to the Overdose Dimension, which plays out almost as it does in the original game in that Graham catches a magical talking fish, whom he then proceeds to... Seriously, are you fucking kidding me? Okay, you can also solve this puzzle in the same way as the original game in all the mind-fucking splendor that entails. But aside from giving you the option to viciously murder yet another sentient creature, this remake also greatly expands on the dimension of drug overdoses by making it even more goddamn weird. In this game, as Graham explores the island of psychotropic splendor, he finds a number of cryptic messages written in the sand. They're from Valinus, and she wrote them with her mind, and they fucking rhyme. I mean, come on. First of all, haven't we suffered enough with the goddamn rhyming? Second, when did Valinus turn into a fucking sorceress? Okay, so the conceit here is that when Valinus sleeps in this enchanted dimension, she's somehow able to do stuff that affects the LSD dimension, which begs the question why she didn't just let herself out. But I guess her newfound magical powers only extend to, like, scribbling poetry in the sand and, oh, conjuring up a portal to actually escape the goddamn dimension. Holy shit, lady, if you can do all that, I don't see how getting past an ordinary wooden door is any problem. Sure, there's a line out front guarding it, just like in the original game, but if we angle this reveal enchantment gemstone we found somewhere at it just right, it turns into a naked old dude. Hello. Who then wanders off, only to appear at the end of the game at Graham and Valinus' wedding, still naked. Okay. Fuck, let's just get this over with. Wakey, wakey, me old beauty. I know it's a bit presumptuous of me to lean in and start smooching a borderline comatose woman to whom I am still, for all intents and purposes, a complete and total stranger, but this is a fairy tale, so sexual assault is not only considered romantic, it is in fact the best way to bag yourself a spouse. Case in point, after a quick detour in which Hagatha shows up only to be thrown off the rooftop RoboCop style, our new bride-to-be immediately gives up her goods and we're whisked away to our wedding. Not in the church as in the original, though, because remember... and also we kind of murdered them all, so we're letting Drac here do the honors. Fucking what? It turns out he's not such a bad guy after all. He just wants to spend his quiet time with his wife and granddaughter, whom he has sired into vampiredom while we were off pissing about in an endless swamp maze. Because what kind of a King's Quest game would this be without an endless maze, right? Anyway, Granny got younger and Possum grew tits because fuck you, these are new vampire rules. Don't ask questions. And also, don't fuck up her library system. Hell has no fury like a vampire bitch with an alphabetical mess on her hands. Anyway, happily ever after, everything is all right again. Oh, we completely forgot about this jack-off. Yeah, okay, luckily it turns out that the Lord of Darkness, the great deceiver and the ruiner of all things, is actually a bitch shit with a sword. So Graham knocks him on his ass and tells him to fuck off. There we go. Now we can enjoy our happily ever after. Well, until we have a son and let him get kidnapped from right under our fucking noses, because it turns out we're actually the worst fucking parents ever. So, did I enjoy playing this version of King's Quest 2? Well, why do you care? Of course, there's no way for me to be objective about this, as I've been friends with the guy who wrote it for nearly 30 years. Not that objectivity was ever a pursuit of mine with these videos. I think I've made that abundantly clear by now to everyone except the King's Quest Wiki. Yes, I enjoyed this way more than I did the original, and I very much appreciate the thought experiment that went into crafting a story with the benefit of hindsight from the games that came after it, effectively retconning the balls-out Blizzard King madness that was the original into something that just makes a borderline smidge of sense. Every once in a while you get the sense that Daniel would much rather be writing a Gabriel Knight game than a King's Quest game, and other times he seems to reel himself so far back from the depths of mature storytelling that he winds up naming a race of sentient shark-like beings Sharkies. What, Bitey McTeethfaces was too on the nose? But he certainly did a much better job of this than I ever could, and to say I'm impressed would be an understatement. You truly get the sense that this was not just a labor of love from a narrative standpoint, but that every element really comes together, like from the art to the music to the animation to the puzzle design, bridle-throwing, snake-charming bullshit be damned, to the whatever the hell this is supposed to be. It's a giant fart cloud in the sky that can also send Graham back into the past and to the future and to lob a sword at Cedric the Owl. What? How fucking high are you, Graham? Seriously. Anyway, there's no bonus round for this video because this video's been underway for God knows how long, eons in fact. I mean, people's grandchildren have grown up and have started asking, where is the King's Quest 2 VGA video finally? So anyway, I'm just gonna call it here. My good friend Brandon did say boot up version 1.0 and have a look at the bobbly-headed animation portraits. Okay, sure. But anyway, that's as far as we're gonna get with the bonus. Hi, I'm the Space Quest historian, and welcome back to my ultimate let's play of the entire Space Quest series. Today we're starting with Space Quest 3, The Pirates of Pestur, from 1989, no less. And before we get going, I just want to take a quick moment to talk about something techie and nerdy that's relevant to the time period when this game came out, and that is sound cards. Now, sound cards were a new thing in 1989. We take them for granted these days because you buy a new computer and it's just, it's just on your motherboard. It's just, you just play anything you want. You want to play an MP3? Cool, you want to do that. Most new games, well, almost all games, well, pretty much every new game. There's a lot of caveats in there. Any new game you can think of plays digital sound. Your MP3s, your OGGs, your waveforms and such. But back in 1989, this was not the case. With new sound cards coming out, sound cards were like a peripheral you had to buy, like your mouse or your hard drive. You had to put it into your computer, and there were a lot of different sound cards. The consumer ones were like the Adlib and the Sound Blaster. These were affordable by normal mortals. And then on the high end, you got stuff like the Roland MT32 and the Gravis Ultrasound. And in 1989, Sierra Online were married to Roland. They loved the MT32, and Space Quest 3 is from that era when Sierra started really using the MT32. And Space Quest 3 has a phenomenal soundtrack. When you play Space Quest 3 with an MT32, it just sounds so fucking awesome. You have no idea. And I say you have no idea because we're not going to be playing the game with the MT32 this time. And there's a reason for that. I do have an MT32 emulator going, and I'm going to use it for Space Quest 4 and Space Quest 5 and Space Quest 6, but I'm not going to use it this time. The reason is that, and I promise this is going to make sense, if you played Space Quest 3 on the Amiga, The Amiga doesn't have like synthesizers. It doesn't like play MIDI music. It plays digital sounds, and you got sound effects like Roger's feet hitting the ground when he jumps out of the escape pod at the start, and even when the cover of the sleep chamber goes back, you even hear Roger's voice going, "Where am I?" And PC players, people playing Space Quest 3 on a PC, were robbed of these digital sound effects. Space Quest 3, as far as people in 1989 knew, and actually for a good chunk of years after that, as far as we knew, there were no digital sound effects in Space Quest 3. You had to play the Amiga version to get those. And we were kind of jealous of that. Now, imagine the shock and horror of Space Quest fans when they realized that the digital sound effects that we envied the Amiga players for are actually in the PC version. You can play Space Quest 3 with a Sound Blaster. Now, the Sound Blaster was the first sound card, as far as I know anyway, that could play digital sounds and not just MIDI music. But Space Quest 3, for some reason, doesn't play the digital sound effects that are in the game code. They've been in the game code since 1989 when the game was released, and they're still in the game code when you buy the game on GOG or Steam or whatever. Some genius back in 1989 just put the wrong fucking Sound Blaster driver on the discs. Or, if it's not the wrong one, at least it's a broken one. It doesn't work. So that's why when you play Space Quest 3 with the Sound Blaster driver, it only plays music. It doesn't play the digital sound effects. However, intrepid Sierra fans have actually gone back and had a look at this shit and actually made the Sound Blaster driver work. So you can play Space Quest 3 with the digital sound effects enabled. And I've chosen to do that because there are a lot of Let's Plays on YouTube of Space Quest 3 with the MT32, with the kick-ass soundtrack. And it is a kick-ass soundtrack. I highly recommend you go out and have a look for it because it really does rock your socks off. However, I haven't seen any Let's Plays of Space Quest 3, the PC version, with the digital sound effects enabled, with Roger's voice at the beginning, and with, a host of really good digital sound effects. So, that is why I have chosen to play Space Quest 3 with the Sound Blaster music, and see, that's the technical limitation. You can't have the MT32 take care of the music, and then the Sound Blaster take care of the digital sound effects. This is from 1989. Space Quest 3 is simply geared so you can only pick one sound card. And I have chosen to pick the working Sound Blaster. So, there you go. That's what we're gonna do. Oh yeah. So, let's get into the game. Let's jump straight into Space Quest 3 after a cute little introduction from my good friend, Danny Sexbang.
Hi, this is Danny. Probably don't need to introduce myself anymore. If you watch my third one of these, there's a good chance that this is Space Quest 3, playthrough of Space Quest 3. Limart. Trolls is really pronounced Limart. And is it also pronounced Trolls? I don't know. But the great Space Quest historian, whatever the hell his name is going to play this for you. Space Quest 3, when it came out, I think it was in 4th grade, 1989, I would say. Definitely my favorite game. Very meaningful. Big. I would say this one took the big first leap in terms of graphics advancements from the first two. It was much smoother, a much more realized world. You start to encounter great side characters like Fester Blatz, Paranoid. They really started to expand the world of Space Quest 3. I actually did a playthrough of this on my Game Grumps. It was such a nostalgic, awesome trip down memory lane. And there was always something about the ability to travel to different places that this one afforded you that I really, really loved. Like, especially going to Monolith Burger. Like, the idea of a fast food restaurant in space. I can't remember if I talked about this, but there were so many sci-fi things that made space seem unfriendly. You know, Alien, Predator, like countless examples. But Space Quest was beautiful in the way that it made space feel fun, you know? And I mean, there's danger out there, but like, I love the idea as a kid of looking at the stars and thinking like, oh man, think of how many cool, fun things there are out there, you know? And that joy is what I think about when I think about Space Quest 3 in particular. I strongly recommend everyone plays at home, and if you can't, watching trolls play is the next best thing. So please enjoy this video. Space Quest 3.
Isn't he a nice man? He is a very, very nice man. Anyway, here we fucking go. We're already 8 minutes into the video, so this is probably not going to be much more than the intro and just dicking around the first few screens, but this is Space Quest 3, the Pirates of Pestilon. Look at the blood-dripping logo on that thing. And oh, the kick-ass soundtrack. Still a good soundtrack, even with the OPL3, the Sound Blaster chip. Created and written by Mark Crowe and Scott Murphy. God, I love you guys. Oh, I love you so much. Music by Bob Siebenberg. He's actually the drummer for a band called Supertramp. Young'uns, kittens might not have heard of it, but big deal. It has been an indeterminate amount of time since Roger Wilco rocketed away from Vohal's burning space fortress. It's upgraded to a fortress now. Time stands still for our hero in suspended animation. Its engines long spent, the small escape pod drifts aimlessly through unfamiliar starfield, its course altered many times by small asteroids and space debris. Inside, Roger lies undisturbed in his sleep chamber. But not for long. I had to get through that quickly because the text clears itself, so here we go. Here's the escape pod we climbed into at the end of Space Quest 2, and we've been adrift for an indeterminate amount of time. There's actually been a lot of debate in Space Quest circles. What qualifies as an indeterminate amount of time? It could have been years, decades, eons. And it's never explained in the entire series, so no one knows exactly how long he was under. And the reason why we've been debating it so much in the Space Quest, look at this fucking thing. Also, look at the bottom right corner. The Crow signature. Did anyone catch that? Because when you hit Space Quest 5 and StarCon started appearing, we don't know why StarCon was never mentioned until Space Quest 5, and some have theorized that it's because he was actually asleep for so long that while Roger was under, StarCon suddenly appeared. Like, okay, the pod, considered to be nothing more than another piece of scrap, is taken aboard a robot-commanded garbage freighter. Unfortunately, these robots have no regard for organics. That would be us. Actually, as we're about to see, it does have regard for some organics, namely rats, so that's gonna be fun. But, as the music swells, the small pod is jarred by a sudden shock, which triggers the sleep chamber's revive mode. As the glass shroud slides back, Roger slowly begins to regain consciousness. And, listen for it. Wait, he's gonna blink his eyes a couple of times, and then... That was not a digital sound effect, by the way. And then Roger speaks for the first time ever.
Where am I?
That was pretty much the only reason why I wanted to play this version of Space Quest 3. Because no one, if they buy the game from GOG or Steam, or if they had the collection, or if they even bought it back in 1989, no one ever heard that line. And this is in fact the first time Roger has ever spoken. Like, Space Quest 4 was the first Space Quest game to get a CD-ROM treatment with a full voiceover, but this is in fact the first ever time we've heard Roger talk. Mouse out of the way. It's a nice little Mickey Mouse glove. I don't know why that's the way cursor, but out of the way it goes. You notice that the sounds from the pod grow softer until they are imperceptible. Having served its purpose and taxed its resources, the pod gives a final hum and shuts down. I like the kinds of music as well. Bob Siebenberg was the drummer for Supertramp, I mentioned, and it was kind of a big deal. It's actually the first computer game that had the music composed for it by someone who was not like an employee, like hired to do game music. And Bob Siebenberg had never, done game music before, and basically just got the gig because the two guys around Andromeda quite liked Supertramp, and they just, said, "Hey, you want to compose the music for our games?" "Yeah, sure." And he did compose it with a Roland MG32, and then Mark Siebert, the music director, whom you might recognize as the musician on King's Quest IV, I believe, and he was the music director for Sierra for a long time. He's worked on a ton of the games that you Sierra fans all know and love. He was the music editor, so he went in and sort of, made them... edited the music a bit and did all the sound effects as well. But the music is composed and written and created by Bob Siebenberg of Supertramp. Fuck, I've been rambling a long time. Let's have a look around here. You're standing in a debris-cluttered junk bay. An escape pod rests in the middle of the room. There are chunks of metal lying around, which seems to be small sections of old spaceware. Old space... I almost went all British on us. Let's have a look at the pod. Pardon me, the program is too stupid to glean your desire from such a wonderfully crafted sentence. Please try something else. Alright, fine. But craft then. This is the escape pod, which I just typed in, which safely whisked you away from Vohal's burning asteroid fortress. The skin of the pod plainly registers the cumulative damage long periods of space travel can inflict on a small craft such as this. Again, it's not mentioned exactly how long he was in there, but we're banking on it being a long while. Also, you may have noticed this thing on the floor. So look at the floor. The floor is composed of a mosaic of overlapping welded steel plates. The menage of used metal plates appear to have been cut from a variety of sources. There's a small round object lying nearby. A closer look at the object on the floor reveals that it is a warp motivator. For some reason, I'm like picturing some dude with one of those clip-on mics just going, "Is everyone psyched?" Not that kind of motivator. It looks a bit more high-tech than the other junk strewn around this locale. Sturdily constructed, its only protrusion is a modular plug near its base. While we can't pick it up, we can try. Get motivator. While relatively small, it seems to be quite dense. I think we're looking at a potential hernia if any attempts are made to manually relocate it. So, let's just keep exploring for a bit. Now, in early screenshots of Space Quest 3, throw those up on screens through the magic of television, there was actually a junkyard dog that was supposed to patrol this, like an alien green junkyard dog. Thank fuck they cut that out of this section, out of the game, for reasons unknown. But maybe it was just part of a mock-up, I don't know. But I am very thrilled that we're not actually being chased around this by some fucking rabid dog. Oh man, already you can see the puns in Space Quest are kind of creeping in. Look at the Acme craft. This one is another fine but worthless Acme product. I just found a typo. A 30-year-old typo. And the Jupiter 1, look at the craft over here. This ship says Jupiter 2. This baby must have been floating around out there for a long time. It doesn't hold your interest for very long. The Jupiter 2 is from Lost in Space, I believe, the old TV series. They made a movie about it with Matt LeBlanc. No one liked that one. And this one is my favorite. This bulbous craft looks like it has seen a lot of action in its day. You believe it to be a bow tie fighter dating back to the Cologne Wars. A true relic. Ah ha ha ha. Actually, funny side story. Mark Crow had originally painted "The Empire Sucks" on the side of this craft, but Ken Williams made them take that out because that was just a bit on the nose. Also, a metal steel plate. Oh, and they look like pieces of metal which have been welded together. Yes, but this one, gets plate. Come on, I want to touch this thing. Yo! Spurt, spurt, spurt. I fucking love that death. And I found this very, very late in life, and it's probably one of the goriest ones. We'll get to the goriest. It's also in this game, by the way. It's obvious that the metal was sharper than you. Double entendre. The resulting laceration turns you into a living fountain, at least for a few moments. It's also in this game. Come on, get plate. Come on, I want to touch this thing. Yo! Spurt, spurt, spurt. I fucking love that death. And I found this very, very late in life, and it's probably one of the goriest ones. We'll get to the goriest. It's also in this game, by the way. It's obvious that the metal was sharper than you. Double entendre. The resulting laceration turns you into a living fountain, at least for a few moments. Unfortunately for you, this show was your finale. Good luck in the afterlife. A brave but fatal attempt at arterial arts. Well, better restart then. Also, have a listen when he jumps out. I talked over it the last time. Yep, that's a digital sound effect. Alright, so, well, we died within the first 5 minutes. So, let's keep going. We're doing very grand. Let's check out what's on the next screen. Holy Christ. Yes, that is... Oh, look at the arm. I love this one. Somewhere, there's an oversized android missing a limb. Thank fucking Christ it's, like, just in several pieces. I didn't want to... just imagine this huge, hulking, fucking green robot just chomping over the garbage freighter. And this is a huge, huge garbage freighter. I really like the scale that they put into this. We are supposed to climb... well, not supposed to. We're just supposed to hitch a ride up with this thing. And, oh, he's got this kind of weird sort of, what the hell am I, what's going on kind of look on his face. Roger, come on, dude. And, whoopsie daisy. Big old, this is not good. This is not good. That was not good. It's not a pretty sight. Shredded like an Iran-Contra document. Ask your parents. Your many independent parts flutter to the something something. Apparently there was a timer on that dialogue box. Alright, you're a less than choice cut, Wilco. Let's restart again. Okay, enough horsing around. Let's just get this show on the proverbial road. Oop, there we go. Again, a confused look on his face. As you probably noticed, Space Quest 3 is still a, what Al Lowe used to call a type till you bleed kind of game. It's a parser game, so you have to type in what he does. But, thankfully, the game actually pauses while you're entering your input. It didn't in Space Quest 1 and 2. So now we can stand and jump. And he struggles a bit. Those overworked mopping arms sure came in good. Actually, aren't you supposed to lose like a lot of muscle mass and a lot of like bone tissue and shit when you're in suspended animation? I mean, the upper body strength going on here must not be very. I mean, that must have hurt. That's what I'm getting. Anyway, here we go. Look at the nice droid. It's not a model you've seen before. The droid appears to be dedicated to this workstation. It seems harmless enough. It's not. Let's find out, shall we? Here, droidy, droidy. Here, droidy. Oh, I do love you so. Hey! I can't whistle, but hey! Dude! Come over and kill me! Oh, come on! Okay, so he's not in the killing mood, I guess. Alright, fine. We'll just climb in this grabber instead. Climb down. There you go. You propping into the seat, you grasp the forward-backward control of the grabber, because the rail is not very maneuverable. Actually, can we... Dude, I'm right here! Hello? We haven't seen footwork like that since Gerald Ford! Unfortunately, your fall causes you to make contact with the non-moving deck below. The resulting impact forces the cancellation of your subscription to Live. Okay, so the robot didn't kill us, but I did. My lack of motor skills did. It wouldn't be so bad, except for the sudden stop at the end. Next time, don't get so close to the edge. Alright, I'll try not to. You can just go fuck yourself, Mr. Robot. I am off. Now, the cool thing about little Mr. Grabby here is that he's equipped with one of those claw things, and the claw thing will lower to the ground on this big netting, kind of magic sci-fi thing, and will grasp whatever's on the surface. The claw senses contact with the warp motivator, grasps it firmly, and begins the ascent back to the grabber. It's very nice of it, actually. So this is what we... And, really, you're supposed to explore the entire freighter and find out that there's a ship that you can steal, and I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna plop it into the ship as you're supposed to, because I can do that. Alright, here we go. This is in fact the magic spot. We're just gonna press the button again. Lower that into... Look at that! That baby's gonna be ours. Sensing an adequate surface, the claw releases its cargo and begins the ascent to the grabber unit. The object thuds into place within the cavity of the ship. You heard the thud, right? That one. Oh, God, I love this. I haven't actually played through the entire game with these sound effects enabled, so it's gonna be a trip for me as well. Alright, let's return this thing to where we found it. I'm sure this dude is gonna come and kill me sometime. Mr. Robot. I've seen him do it. There he goes. Hi. Come on. You really bit the beam, Buckwheat. And there's that lack of regard for organics in action again. Sorry. I guess they never heard of the warning shot concept around here. Anyway, you're dead. Hope you enjoy your new flow-through ventilation system. Hole in one. I knew he could do that. Also, he's got he's got scary eyes, doesn't he? A little cute little robot there. You saw those? Anyway, instead of letting him zap our ass, let's just throw ourselves down the chute. Fortunately, you come to a relatively soft landing in a pile of debris. And here's where the organics that are allowed to stay down here come into play. So look at the rats. You can hear something scurrying around above you. You can't actually see the rats because they're hidden in the shadows. So I'm just gonna stand here in a beam of light and maybe call out to them? Call rats? No, can't do that. Yell, I love you, rats. Your utterances echoes around the metallic confines of the area. No answer is forthcoming. Turns out these rats don't actually speak. However, they also seem to not give a fuck that I'm down here. That's very disappointing. I'm gonna steal their generator. You unhook the reactor from the cheap wires and take it with you. Now that's, how are you supposed to know there's a fucking generator on the left wall over there? It's not visible at all. But, I'm gonna take it. You guys can't do shit. You hear me? Hey, you gonna attack me? Attack me now. No? Nothing? Well, fuck you guys then. Bending aside a thin piece of scrap, you find an opening into another area and climb on in. And, I know I'm supposed to get the ladder, for all you fans out there looking at this game, but I'm not gonna do that yet because, as fans already know, on the way to our new spaceship, which is through this magnificent looking tunnel. Hello, little alien dude. That must be another disregard for organics. Somewhere inside this tunnel will contain a very aggressive fucking rat. You seem to have been mugged by some type of large rat. As you pick loose fur from your teeth, you notice a less bulky feeling. Right, let's check the inventory. You're carrying a glowing gem from Space Quest 2 and nothing else. Where did our reactor go? Well, the fucker took it back to the lair, so it's back and steal it once again. And this is why we left the ladder in place, because we can just climb back on down. Look, the lights are back on. Everyone's having a merry little disco party in Ratland, but not any fucking more. I'm about to, well, see, I forgot that you have, the game actually pauses to let you type stuff in. And this time, I'm gonna get the ladder because I'm gonna need it later. You grab the ladder and jam it into your pocket. Ouch! Alright, and this time, when you go through the tunnel, there is no rat to be found. However, what there is to be found is actually a very nice piece of wire. You take the only decent piece of wire available. It'll come in handy. Also, have a look at Roger's shadow as he moves out of it. It's just such a nice detail, and that really, oh my god. We're still doing vector graphics, by the way. This is still drawn on screen in a flash in an instant, and you can still go online and find these slowed down how the game actually draws these on screen like you could with Space Quest 2. Anyway, hey, look at the giant head. Wow, an ancient model of a battle bot. Transformers was copyrighted, so I bet you'd hate to run into whatever brought this big guy down. It looks like something poked him in the eye. Yeah, I almost got through that sentence. And we're supposed to get right on up here. And by the way, that's a steep fall down there, so that's why I'm getting really careful here. We can climb through the eye. There we go. And here is our ship. Now, I did mention in my Space Quest 2 playthrough that Scott Murphy's favorite movie was 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I think fans of the movie, if you've seen it, will recognize this craft. It's a cute little thing. You've never seen anything like it in these parts, but then where are these parts? Some writing on the exterior reads, "Bowman was here." A little nod to the protagonist in 2001: Space Odyssey. Also, this cute fucking Tinker toy. Look at the toy. They look like the remnants of an orbital space station, or perhaps some type of toys for an oversized child. This reference completely, went over my head as a kid because we don't have Tinker toys in Denmark. I had no idea what the fuck that thing is. I thought it was one of those things that you like put on your head and those things like bob up and down. Nuh-uh. Anyway, we're supposed to put the ladder down here. Now, have a look at the size of Roger and the size of the ship. You would think he could just, we've seen the upper body strength in this dude. He could just haul his little tiny janitor ass up on there, but nope, we have to place the ladder and climb the ladder. You notice it to be slick up here, be careful. You can actually fall off and die from up here. It's not that spectacular a death, so I don't want to show that, but you move into position and, grabbing the dull finish of the hatch's handle, commence to open and enter the ship. And this is our baby. We actually forgot to look at the craft. Hang on a moment. The ramp is immobilized by the junk it's laying in, so you exit through the hatch instead. That's good. We do want to have a look at it. Look at the craft. It's a slick-looking number if you can disregard the junk it's rooted in. It must be a recent addition to the collection, as everything seems to be intact. Etched on each side is the name Aluminum Mallard. On top is a small hatch, but the Aluminum Mallard. Well, first of all, Millennium Falcon, a new Aluminum Mallard. Yeah. And also, it's not aluminium, which is what, the British would call it, and incidentally is also the Danish word for aluminum. But anyway, we all know it and love it as the Aluminum Mallard, and let's get the fuck on in there. Space Quest fans absolutely love this craft because it is beaten up, it's found in a trash freighter, and it's all shot to hell, but god damn it, it's my ship because I stole it. And we love the Aluminum Mallard, and sadly, it only crops up again we stay with the Mallard for the entirety of Space Quest 3, and then it crops up in the intro of Space Quest 4, and then it's never seen again. But it is by far Space Quest fans' favorite ship of Roger's. Yes, I'm including the Goliath and the Eureka in Space Quest 5. We'll get to all of that. Anyway, let's have a look at the diagnostic screens. Access denied, power critically low, auxiliary can't even fucking talk, let's try that again. Insufficient power to commence with system check. So, we shall use the wire. You install the wire inside the reactor compartment. And maybe we should put the reactor in. The reactor we picked up, use reactor. No? Yep, there we go. You drop the reactor into the hole, carefully reconnect the cables, and put the tile back in place. There we go. Quick little brain fart there. The reactor is what gives us power, the warp motivator is what makes us go. Makes us go. Have a look at the screen again. System checks in progress. Power level nominal. Auxiliary reactor online. That's a hard word to say. Alright, there's the auxiliary reactor. Fuck it, I'm just gonna call it the aux reactor. Landing gears in place. Nominal. Warp motivator. Nominal. Everything's fucking cool as dude here. Looks like this bird's in good shape. Cool, let's have a sit down. And little Easter egg for you guys up here. Search seat. Searching around the cushions, you find among variously colored wads of lint 7 buckazoids. That gives you a point. I don't know. You just get buckazoids. Can't actually use them for anything. But all right, let's have a look at the other screen now. let's get the fuck out of here. First, we turn on the engines. There we go. We activate the radar, because we really want to see what's ahead of us, and now we take off. You feel a strong rumbling as the ship strains to loosen itself from the confines of the junk heap accumulated at its base. Finally, it begins to rise. There you go, parallax scrolling and everything. Hey, kids. The ship rises several meters, then stops abruptly. I'm sorry if I keep calling you kids. I don't know. An alarm from the computer attracts your attention. Now, ascent halted due to obstruction. That would be the roof of the garbage freighter, because we're not flying around inside the fucking garbage freighter. However, since, you know, action of space and everything, let's just blast our fucking way out of here. First of all, however, we're gonna turn on the front shields, because there might be some blowback, and fire. The shot blasts a new orifice in the side of the junk freighter. The pressure generated by the desire of the ship's atmosphere to escape the considerably lower pressure of space to the considerably lower pressure of space causes your ship to spit out like a watermelon seed. God damn it, I am not a voice actor. And here we are. We have now escaped the trash freighter. And so, here ends episode 1 of Space Quest 3, the ultimate playthrough. So, yeah, not much to say. Hope you're enjoying it. Please like, subscribe, do whatever you kids do. Just leave me a comment, because I love the comments. And thank you for all your kind words so far. Really means a lot. Really, you know, keeps me going. And I promise to stop calling everyone kids when I look into the camera. At some point, anyway. I'm gonna train myself. So anyway, yes, thank you. I will see you back next Tuesday. Spoiler there. No, this one is just snarling evil, and he hates the...
I think I'm done for tonight. My home is so hot. It's hard to deal with this. I'm sweating like crazy. I need the fan. Nobody's paying attention anyway, so I'll just sneak off.